Okay, so let's fire this bad boy up. Be ready, it's not pretty. Absolutely stinks. Okay, so there's a few things that it could be. It doesn't misfire under load so much, so I'm tending towards it not being the ignition system. The previous owner did actually replace I think he did the spark plugs, but he definitely did the leads, and I think he did the distributor cap as well, probably the rotor arm. He said that it could be the coil, but I just have a feeling that it isn't the ignition system. I think it's more, from the way it runs, I think it's more fuel air mix. You know, so it could be MAF sensor, coolant temp sensor, something like that, you know, air fuel mix. I mean, I can't see any, it's not the idle control valve, because obviously it does it, it's common fault, but it plays up, not just on idle, but just in general, so it's not just that. Yeah, I can't see any obvious splits in any hoses or anything like that, but again, I don't think it's a vacuum leak, because the idle stays steady. It doesn't surge, it doesn't idle high, so I don't think it's a vacuum leak, to be honest. Fuel just came out of there. Yeah, it stinks of fuel, and it's wet. Yeah, see that? It's full of fuel. Yeah, that's full of fuel and it's not supposed to be. Yeah. That's what the problem is. Because this is an air vacuum. Here, this is the fuel pressure regulator. It is actually a common fault. But essentially, just to give you a bit of an idea for those that don't know how this works. So yeah, fuel pressure regulator, the clue's in the name. Basically, obviously here is where air gets drawn into the engine. Through here, through the throttle body, into the engine. And on this, here, where air gets drawn in through there, through the vacuum, it also air gets pulled in through here. So it sucks on this line here. The air goes through there. Here is a diaphragm inside, and the suction of the air pulls the diaphragm. Fuel for the injectors here, these yellow things. Fuel comes along the rail, and this here regulates the pressure of the fuel system. So you'll get fuel up to here and into the rail, and it's regulated by air vacuum, so it can do this. But there shouldn't be fuel here. The fuel's getting further than it should. So yeah, that's the problem. So I think I can grab the fuel pressure regulator off the 940, which we know is good, and try it, and I think that's going to be our problem solved. So a couple of 10mm bolts, screwdriver for the right, so that should I didn't look, but I hope the one on the 940 is the same. Pretty sure it is, but it's the same. It's a B230F, so it's not the same engine, so it should be. Okay, so now we're on the 940. Let's see. Yeah, look, dry as a bone. Okay, so let's give that a whirl then. Still looks a little rough to me. It's definitely better. I think probably the engine mounts are making it seem even worse than it is, but obviously it's definitely not running how it should either. I mean, although it's running rough, the engine itself actually sounds okay. But when I pulled off the fuel pressure regulator hose, and obviously all that fuel came out, I mean, I think probably the spark plugs are fouled up. So I think probably the next thing to do, take out a spark plug and see how they look. What's going on there? Oh. So that was inside there, and unless I'm mistaken, that's the ring off someone else's, out of someone else's. Mine's still in there. My gummy, my rubber ring to hold the spark plugs inside the socket when you take them out so they don't fall out. Yeah, I think that was out of someone else's socket, but yeah, free stuff. Let's try that again. There we go. I think I've just got a feeling already this is going to be an interesting car to work on. Well, they are black. They smell fuely. They're black, but I wouldn't say... Try and get it to focus a bit for once. They are black, yes, but I wouldn't... I mean, they're not soaking wet. And they're not sort of... Well, yeah, I think in any case I should try a set. Just to rule that out. This is what I love about having like multiple of the same car, or at least, you know, like a car with the same engine. Found these in the back of the 940. I totally forgot about them. Old plugs that I took out of it. They're really worn, but they're not black and they're not covered in... Actually, I think they are a little bit black, but they're not covered in fuel or anything like that, and they haven't been run in a really rich condition, so... Well, I'll just rephrase all that. They certainly ran... They look terrible, but they certainly ran okay in the 940 before I changed it out, but you can see the wear. You can see the gap there, but they work, and I know they're good. So I think if I just swap them out, if I just chuck them in this thing, just to see how it runs, and then we'll go from there. I'm thinking, to be honest, if there's still a load of fuel sat in the manifold, it's still running rich, so it might need actually just a run, which I can't give it because I can't take it out on the road because it's not registered. So I'm confined to this little old mattress covered bit of courtyard. They've been changed fairly recently, haven't they? Because that gap, I mean, they look new, you know, forgetting the carbon build up on it. Yeah, I might just like throw these plugs in and just rev the tits off it for a bit, just to clear out any excess fuel, because I think maybe that could be what's going on. That's been gapped wrong, or it's been bashed before it went in. So that's not going to run right. That needs gapping, that does, properly. It's too close. So again, I don't think it's enough for it to run the way it does, you know. I think, yeah, well, let's see anyway. Last one. The gaps on these plugs are massive. The difference, that's obviously way too big. These plugs were, you know, end of their life. Right, let's try that then and see how she goes. The rattling you can hear is the exhaust heat shield. Next episode, I guess, start having a look at the bodywork, get that rust looked at, yeah, and really just see what we need to do to get it through the inspection. Firstly, get some plates on it, get it on the road, and then deal with the rest.